Hello. Now, in early 2000s, or I think it was 2003, I bought my first smartphone, which was running Windows Mobile at that time, which was in fact nothing but a downgraded version of Windows XP. In fact, I was quite happy. There's not much, there weren't any alternative anyway, but it had much more than you would want from a smartphone to have in terms of the extended functionality. Okay, I mean, I was even able to connect, do a remote screen connection to my desktop from anywhere and just access my files and so on and so forth. But it was only late 2008, after Apple announced iPhone, smartphones have become so popular and widespread. So on paper, when you look at the functionalities that are offered by iPhone at that time and Windows Mobile, they were incomparable. In fact, iPhone didn't just, I mean, iPhone was nowhere near to what you would get from a Windows Mobile phone, but yet now we know the situation. The iPhone had offered a completely different user experience. In terms of the usability, iPhone would just outperform anything in the market. And you know what has, probably you know what has happened to Windows Mobile. They just cancelled it, and after some years Android has become mimicking, in fact, I would say Apple's iOS, and now we are here. Now we're using smartphones as, I mean, we can't even imagine without a daily life without a smartphone. So what I'm trying to say here is it's not just important to offer functionality, but it's also important to think about how well you offer that functionality to your users. So in this video series, I'll be talking about quality requirements, quality attributes like usability, like performance, reliability, things that are considered by many very important, yet very often ignored, or let's say underrated in practice, and as I have just mentioned, extremely important. So I'll give a definition of what quality requirements are and so on and so forth. But before that, where are we? So we are, with respect to the knowledge areas, we are still here. We are still in the requirements analysis and design definition. Okay. So let's first mention about the function requirements and the quality requirements. Okay, so users naturally, at first, let's say at least, focus on specifying function requirements. Okay, like the behavior that a software product or an IT system will exhibit under specific conditions. But there is, as I have just mentioned, there is much more to success than just delivering the right functionality to your users. So users also have the expectations about how well that product will work, like how easy it is to use, or how easy it will be to use, or how quickly it would run, how often it fails, how it handles exceptional situations, or how well it handles exceptional situations, how secure it is, and so on and so forth. So you would remember this slide that discusses about this types of requirements, and you would see the quality requirements there in the kind of like the user level. They can be transformed directly into solution requirements, but some types of quality requirements are also act as an origin of function requirements. But I mean, we'll mention about that, but for instance, security requirements, usually they end up being a function requirements, but at the user level, they are quality requirements. We'll come to that, but quality requirements, this is how they are positioned with respect to the others. So they are obviously influenced by business rules. They can become, some of them can become a solution requirement or requirements that are imposed on the solution system themselves, and some of them turn into function requirements, and then and implemented as such. Okay, so IT system software quality requirements. Let me first distinguish between the non-functional requirements and quality requirements. So the quality requirements, they are also known as non-functional requirements, and that's a big mistake. In fact, quality requirements are just one type of non-functional requirements. So you have the function requirements that the system should offer in terms of functionality, how it behaves under certain conditions, and we have these non-functional requirements that just, we lump everything, whatever we have, under non-functional requirements. And then in practice, when people say non-functional requirements, they usually refer to quality requirements, which is a mistake, essentially. You would definitely hear about that in practice. So as I mentioned, non-functional requirements involve much more than that. Obviously quality requirements, but also external interface requirements, software interface requirements, hardware interface requirements, user interface requirements, communication interface requirements, and so on, design and implementation constraints, and internalization requirements, which we'll be discussing all these in the next set of modules. So what is a quality requirement? Basically, it describes, a quality requirement describes the attributes of the product that indicate how well the system delivers its functionality. Okay? So what this means is that you should accompany the description of the product's functionality by describing the product characteristics, which we mean quality attributes like performance, again, usability, reliability, availability, safety, security, integrity, interoperability, and so on and so forth. We'll see about them. We also call them abilities. But it is not easy. It is not easy. Usually, as I mentioned at the very beginning, they are considered as important, but they're usually ignored, or let's say underrated. And there are some reasons for that. So customers, or let's say users, generally cannot present their quality expectations explicitly. Okay, there are several reasons for that, like lack of awareness in the need of their specification, okay, or lack of know-how on the categories of quality attributes, what they mean, how to select and set relationships or prioritize them, how to specify them, how to evaluate them, and so on. But if you do not have a precise specification of quality, it will not be possible to evaluate it. So we need to find a way to, let's say, specify these quality requirements. Okay, one way or another, you have to do that thing. And what we're going to do today, what we're going to do in the series of videos in this particular module, so we'll first talk about quality models. Then we'll pick one of these quality models, the one from Uyghur. We'll see about the list of quality attributes that are applicable for, let's say, majority of the IT systems around that you can define. Then we'll be talking about some practical steps that will take you from, let's say, like high-level ideas about the attributes to the low-level specifications of proper specification of quality attributes. We'll see a lot of examples today about how you can specify quality attributes. And finally, the last module will involve the discussion about how quality attributes are kind of relate to each other, and then also what type of quality attributes are a little bit more important to certain type of software systems. Okay, so we will have a lot to discuss, but I hope there will be short modules, short video lectures for each one of them. Okay, yeah, see you in the other video.